Australian senator censured for blaming Muslim victims. Canberra, Australia. An Australian senator was censured by his colleagues on Wednesday for seeking to blame the victims of last month's mosque shootings and vilify Muslims. Senior Fraser Anning was on Parliament's second sitting day since the March 15 attack in which 50 people died. Government and opposition lawmakers moved the censure motion against Anning for divisive comments seeking. Senior Anning dismissed the censure motion as an attack on free speech. He sits as an independent lawmaker after defecting from the anti-Muslim One Nation Party, whose 2 senators abstained from the censure vote. One Nation senior Peter Georgiou Hansen said while Anning's comments were untimely. A day after the Christchurch attacks, Anning faced more criticism for physically striking the teenager who cracked an egg on his head at a Melbourne public appearance. 17-year-old Will Connolly, who became known around the world as Egg. Anning on Wednesday criticised Prime Minister Scott Morrison for saying at the time that Anning should be it. But after New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern previously called Anning's comments on the shootings a Anning came under blistering criticism over tweets within hours of the massacre, including one that said, "Does the Australian white supremacist Brenton Tarrant has been charged with murder in the shootings and is due to appear in a New Zealand court on Friday."
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.